Good afternoon. My name is Zachary Brewer, and I am here with a very special guest, my grandfather, Mr. Sean Dooley. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We're happy that you chose to be part of this exciting project. What branch of the military were you in?
I was in the United States Army.
Why did you choose that branch?
I didn't choose. They asked me to go in there. I was drafted in March of '68. And from there I went to Fort Dix in New Jersey and had 9 weeks of training down there. And then I opted to take one more year in the service, and I went from there to, I can't think of the fort, it's in Maryland. Yeah, it was a quartermaster. Ended up being a 63J, which was a mechanic. And that's about right there. Then from there, I went overseas for 2 years and served on Okinawa with the 2nd Log Command. We ran a depot, and this depot was supplied material. We supplied material for the troops in Vietnam. What was happening was that any tanks, not tanks so much, but trucks, deuce-and-a-half Jeeps, 3/4-ton trucks, radio equipment, would come back towards Okinawa, and we would refurbish it and send it back to Vietnam. You want to ask me some questions there?
When did you serve?
I served from March of '68 to January of 1971. And that's about, I got out early because I was going to college.
Where did you serve?
On Okinawa, which is part of the Isle. If you know where you see Japan, it comes down. Okinawa is independent. At the time, they were on their own, but now they're under the leadership of the Japanese. They're part of Japan now. So.
What was your job in the military?
Well, in the military, I was going in as a mechanic, and when I arrived in Okinawa, and I was sent to my job, I was going to be working in this building. We call it 305. And I reported into the officer, and he asked me, he was looking over my resume, my history, and he asked me where I was from. I told him I was from Massachusetts, and he was from Hawaii. And he just kept talking to me because he liked the accent. And he did say to me, had I spent time in college? And I said, yes, I was there for 2 years. And I just had decided I was going to take my chance in the draft or see if I could avoid it, but it didn't happen. So he asked me, do you type? And I said, yes. He said, you will be, right then and there, I became the supply person for that group and also the truck driver for that group, because we would have to go down to the barracks, pick the men up, and bring them to the building to do the work and repairing the equipment that was coming in from overseas.
Okay. Were you drafted or did you join voluntarily?
I was drafted.
What was boot camp like?
Boot camp. Well, I thought going in, my brother David served in the Army. He was a draftee too, years before. And he told me that it was just like going out for a football team. Well, when I got there, when we landed there and started going through the practice, I knew it wasn't a football team. And it was hard. We were running. We had to learn skills that we never had learned before, firing a rifle, hand-to-hand combat, all these things. You had to learn, and you had to learn to work as a team. And that's the biggest part of being in the service, to work as a team.
Okay. What was the most challenging part of your time in the military?
The most challenging part to me was the fact I was away from my family for over 2.5 years. And I missed 3 Christmases, which was very difficult. But that's part of being in the service. When they call you, you go and you do what you're asked to do, and you do it. And that's the only thing that bothered me. I would miss my family.
How did you imagine military life before you joined?
I knew it was difficult because I had uncles that had gone through the service, and they had been in World War II, World War One, and I knew it wasn't going to be a picnic. I expected it was going to be difficult, and it was difficult. But I endured, and I enjoyed being in the service. I enjoyed very much. It was a challenge, and I loved the challenge.
How did your perceptions changed after serving?
I think it made me a better person and motivated me, and I went right back to school, got a college degree, and went into the chemistry business and working with chemical companies. And in high school, when I was in chemistry, I wasn't a very good student. When I wanted to get working in the program and working in chemistry and working on projects, it was easy. It was like riding a bike.
What were some of the things that you remember about adapting to military life?
Nothing really in particular, just that you live in a barracks, and you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you went to bed at 9 o'clock at night, and you did have your downtime. You could do things. You could play, basketball. We had sports. I used to do a lot of walking and a lot of reading in the military, and I had friends there. I had two very close friends. One was from Connecticut, Roberto Bassi, an Italian, and John Andoloro, he was a musician. And John today plays for the Sondells. And he still plays. He goes around the country, and we keep in contact.
Was there anything you especially missed about civilian life?
No, not really. The biggest thing is, as I stated before, the fact that I could not just talk to my mother or my father or my brothers or my relatives. That's the only thing that has affected me about that.
Is there someone you served with that you remember fondly? Can you tell me about them?
I just mentioned two of them, Roberto and John. And we're very close. We keep in contact. Roberto lives now in Las Vegas, and John lives he's still living in New Jersey. And like I said, he travels around the country as a musician. And he has cut a couple records on his own.
Yeah. What instrument does he play?
Guitar.
Oh.
Electric. It's good. Loud, though.
Thanks, Grandpa, for being a part of this project, and thank you for your service to our nation.
Thank you. I'm glad you asked me. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, Zachary.